We are, though, going to get into some of the news headlines. Doesn't mean we're going to discuss every story, but we're going to have fun taking a look at what is going on in the news today. Here's a look at some of the headlines making the world spin this week. He did it. That real-life Ned Flanders did it. That's right. Mike Johnson, the man who doesn't know his debit card PIN because he doesn't know what a bank account is, got the needed support from the left of the congressional aisles to get a deal approved that will keep the government open, breaking the heart of Spirit Halloween store staff ready to move into the Capitol building. Whether or not the Freedom Caucus jumps Johnson in the parking lot and has him drawn and quartered remains to be seen. But we are here at ANYTIME. Got to admit, we got to make sure we give credit when credit is due. Mike Johnson might think open mouth kissing is a sin and is a repressed homophobic bigot, but he made this Christmas miracle happen. Jesus loves you, Mikey. Jesus loves you. This week saw several protests erupt over the horrific situation in Gaza, the West Bank, and Israel. And yes, by situation, I do mean an evil terrorist attack and a cold-hearted genocide in the name of justice. Some protests were pro-Palestinian, some were pro-Israel. Most of them were peaceful. Some of them were absolutely not. But all of them continued the rising tensions between people everywhere. Friends no longer talk to friends. Old school Democrats are agreeing with Meghan McCain. New school Democrats are agreeing with Osama bin Laden. And Gal Gadot is still hated by everyone. Imagine there's no heaven. As everyone continues to share their earnest and passionate thoughts on this ongoing tragedy, no one's provided the one answer to the problem. Hate continues to bring more hate, and all of this might accidentally put the one man who probably thinks he has the answer into the White House. It was learned this week that the town of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, passed a law back in June prohibiting homosexuality in public, and they're using that law to ban books from libraries that might violate this rule. This law, again, passed in June, but is just now being brought to light, bans, quote, indecent behavior, including indecent exposure, public indecency, lewd behavior, nudity, or sexual conduct. Sure, no one likes to watch two young lovers neck in public to celebrate going steady, and there are certainly creeps that expose themselves indecently. But I guess it's hard to make a law that just targets men. Who determines these lines of decency that can't be crossed is the problem. Why stop here? Villains from a 1980s movie ban dancing, holding hands, or eating an ice cream cone with your eyes closed. This is what happens when those clinging to fear use language and coding to oppress those they fear. On one hand, I'd like to help any gay person leave Murfreesboro, but you know what? No, they shouldn't have to leave their homes to be themselves. Stay, fight, make Murfreesboro gay again. That's what we say around here. And finally, this past week, everybody was kung fu fighting in Washington, D.C. near the White House. First, Representative Tim Burchett of Tennessee, a man who believes aliens just might be angels and wants to spend your tax dollars to prove it, accused recently deposed Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, of giving him, and I quote, a clean shot to the kidneys after McCarthy passed him in the hallowed halls of our government. McCarthy denied this claim, just like he tried to deny the 2020 presidential election votes of two states Biden won, saying, I didn't shove or elbow him, it's a tight hallway. Burchett chased after him, and the two exchanged words. But this turns out was only the undercard. That's right, later in the day, Republican Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, a name that challenges you to be the better person and not make a stereotypical joke about it, challenged Teamster boss Sean O'Brien to a fight on the floor of the Senate chambers during the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee hearing. Already exciting. O'Brien had previously sent a tweet mocking the no doubt super strong, tough, and 100% manly Mullen and told him any place, anytime, cowboy. After a series of testy, and let's face it, hilarious responses from O'Brien, Mullen stood up, took off his wedding ring, and challenged O'Brien to settle it right there. The fight was stopped when Senator Bernie Sanders threw Werther's original candies at them both until they calmed down. Mullen later excused his actions by pointing out that duels and violence used to be a staple of the U.S. government up until the early 1800s, when they then turned that violence on Native Americans. He cited Andrew Jackson, one of the most despicable men to serve as president, as a particular inspiration. No word on when this match will take place, but Alden, I'm hoping they draw numbers 1 and 2 at the Royal Rumble in January. That's a look at the news. Alden, anything you want to talk about today?